Hey everyone, this is your favorite radio host, your only radio host on Between the Lines, Corinne Lafont, broadcasting to you from Trinidad and Tobago. It's a bit sunnier now compared to when I broadcasted my previous show today. I had two shows today. So it's taking a lot out of me, but you're going to get the same kind of energy coming from your favorite girls, so don't worry about it. Um, Still beautiful, still beautiful. And I have with me, who do I have with me today? Casey
Casey
Stubbs.
Stubbs.
I didn't forget Casey. Who do I have with me today? Casey Stubbs. And he's hanging where? Where are you sitting? In your living room?
I'm in my office in Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Nice. And is that your name in the back there?
That is my mom made that for me.
Oh, how sweet. How
Yeah.
sweet. He needs to do one for me. Okay. So let me tell you a bit about Casey. Casey Stubbs is a U.S. Army veteran, very nice, and lifelong entrepreneur dedicated to helping investors from all walks of life achieve financial freedom. Gosh, he's in the right place. Financial freedom and abundance in their lives. Casey launched his first website, Winners Edge Trading, after having experienced great returns while learning to trade in the Forex market. My gosh, that we're going to talk more about that because Forex is something that is like a foreign, well, I wouldn't say unknown. It's known, but it's like a little whatever to understand. So he started his own business, Winners Edge Trading, after having experienced great returns while learning to trade in the Forex market, and decided to share his strategies online with the trading community. Since that time, Casey has gone on to launch several other successful brands, such as Trading Strategy Guides, Learn to Trade for Profit, and Finance and Markets, all dedicated towards helping investors at every level learn how to profitably manage their investments as well as their personal finances for themselves. Casey has built his reputation through dedication to helping others, which is good, reach their full potential, having been featured on several podcast radio shows. Well, no, he's on mine. Casey has now launched his own radio presence, the Finance and Markets Cashflow Hacking Podcast, where he shared the stories of other entrepreneurs who have achieved financial freedom for themselves through hard work. I'll stress it again, hard work and perseverance, the two keys. Casey now lives in Pennsylvania, like he says, with his wife and 9 children. Casey, we're going to talk about that. And enjoys camping, fishing, and most of all, spending time with his family. I need to come out there and do some camping and fishing with you guys. So welcome, Casey, to Between the Lines.
Thanks for having me, and I am going on a boating trip on Saturday. We're going to go canoeing down the river.
I'll be there. So what time on Saturday? What time on Saturday? I'll meet you, yeah?
8 o'clock in the morning. We're shipping out.
That's kind of early. That means that means I need to come over from Friday, stay over by you so that I can leave out with you on Saturday. That's all good. It's all good.
It's not going to be too hot.
It's hot here in Trinidad and Tobago, so it's not going to be too hot. But I need warm weather. Notice the color of my skin? I need...
Yeah. Well, we get really cold in the wintertime. I don't like it. No.
Right? So I need warm weather. So I could deal with that. But, I've noticed, when I travel to the U.S., everybody's perception of warm is different because I'll be freezing my buns off and they'll be like, this is great. This is great. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's how it is in Pennsylvania. We think it's hot and everybody else that comes from the South thinks it's cold.
It's cold. It's cold. So 9 kids, Casey. Wow, you have a nice little team going there.
Yeah, my wife does all the work. She gets all the credit. She's a great lady.
I should bump you off now and be interviewing her instead.
Yeah, she could give you some really great stories for sure about me and my kids.
Right? And how to manage the finances, okay? I mean, it's the woman who is leading the charge. Admit it now, Casey. Is it the woman leading the charge? What is happening?
Well, here's the deal. I'm leading the charge on making the money, and she does spend the family budget. So I make the money. I don't give her all of the money, but I give her a very big percentage of it to manage the family budget, and I handle the investments.
And she's been doing well so far.
She does good. She does really good.
She does really good.
The kids. She takes care of the kids.
Very, very good. Very good. So you go out and you hunt, you bring it in, and she does everything else. Good, good.
Yeah, and she likes it that way, and I do too.
Well, traditionally, that has always been the way. So I guess the model still works, right?
Yeah.
The model still works. So Forex, explain that. Is that foreign exchange? That's supposed to be foreign exchange.
Yeah, and it's really simple if you think about it
Please
where,
break it down. Please break it down, Kate.
okay,
Break it down.
so where you're from, what kind of money do you use? What's your
Well, we have
currency?
our own currency, Trinidad and Tobago dollars. Most islands in the Caribbean have their own currency. We do use the US because it's an international currency. So the US
Okay.
and our own business is, of course, done in the US. When I say in the US, I mean dollar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So
yeah,
if what is your currency? What's the name of your currency? Your local currency.
TT dollars.
Okay, TT dollars. So if you have a lot of TT dollars and you want to travel
Mhm.
to wherever you're going to go, you'll have to exchange those into a different currency. If you're going to go
Yeah,
to Europe,
yeah.
you've got to change
You
those
have to
over into
use
euro.
pounds. Yeah, if you're going to London,
Right.
use the pounds.
Right.
Coming to the US, we have to use US.
And that's really all that currency and forex trading is it's exchanging one currency for another.
Mhm.
The but it's not just for traveling purposes. Sometimes it is, but it's for trying to make a profit. So if you think that the US dollar is going to drop in value, then you'll go ahead and buy another currency that you think is going to go up in value versus the dollar, and then you can make a profit on that
And
based off.
the thing about that, I mean, you're keeping it pretty simple so far, which is good. But the thing about that is, how do you know which is going to go up in value, which is going to benefit you? It's like from the little that I know, it's like a constant monitoring of what's happening on the stock exchange. You have to understand it. You can't have one egg in that basket. You have to have multiple eggs in that basket. So tell us how do you know what to invest in, when to pull out, when to go in, how much to put in, kind of thing.
Well, as far as how much to put in, you want to allocate a percentage of whatever it is you're investing, just
Mhm.
like if you're investing in stocks or real estate or whatever you want to invest in, you want to allocate a percentage of that so that, like you said, you don't want all your eggs in one basket. You want to split it up in case that the investment doesn't work out.
Mhm.
Then you will have additional investments, and hopefully out of your entire portfolio, you're going to have some that are working good and some that aren't.
Right.
But the key ways to determine what is going to happen in the currency market is the first thing is you really don't know. It's just like any type of investment. You can never know for sure what's going to happen
It's risk.
because there's a risk involved. So you want to try to limit your risk by putting in saying, okay, if it goes down a certain amount, I'm going to get out.
Yeah.
Um, but but you just make an educated investment based on research. What's happening in the economy. Is the government doing a good job of expanding the economy? Are there jobs growing?
Mhm.
Are wages going up? How is just the life of the currency going? That's one way. And then the other way to do it is to look at actual charts and look at patterns that happen on the charts. And those charts can repeat themselves over time, and you can try to make an investment based off of chart patterns.
Now, hear what now, Casey? Now, that sounds nice. Who is going to be spending the time understanding all of that when they have no knowledge, but they want to make some money and invest? Real estate is always a good area to invest in. I know that. I know that. But there are times it may be down. How do you know what industries, what areas, what channels to put the money into? And for persons who are simple, I mean, simple, they're not even entrepreneurial minded, but they want to invest. They don't understand the whole money thing. They don't want to get caught up in it, but they want to. Is it best to probably get someone who is an investor who knows this thing to do it? How can you trust somebody to manage your money for you? Just like your wife, she's managing the money for you.
Right.
You
Yeah,
trust her, you're
exactly.
married to her, you see what she's doing with the money, you have the kids, so you see where the money is going. And you are able to probably say, hey, wife, I think, you and me discuss it and say, I think we should do this or we should do that or hold back on this or that. you trust her. She's your wife, for heaven's sake. I can't marry somebody. I could marry an investor, I guess, but my, who I
Yeah,
can
well, you
say,
don't want to talk to my wife about that because she's always saying that she married me because of money.
that's
But
a
I
good.
know she's lying.
I
She's
love,
lying.
I love your wife already. She and I need to sit down on a boat alone and fish and talk. So no. So I could marry an investor, which is an option. That might take me a good couple of years to be able to build trust and marry him and say, okay, he's going to take care of us and invest. But for the persons who don't have that opportunity, or who don't want to take that option, what do we do as simplistic lay persons who have heard of this forex thing, see that there's a potential? What do we do?
Well, I would say that if you're busy and you don't really have the time to learn, I personally wouldn't recommend just giving it to someone to invest. I
Mm,
would have a really strong relationship with whoever it is that you're going to use for help you investing. So I think that no matter what you're going to invest in, you really need to take that time. Even if you're a busy person, you're responsible for your money and you're responsible for getting a return.
yeah.
There's so many different ways to invest your money. When I was a younger guy, I read the book. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon, and
Yes.
it talks about taking and saving 10% of your money, of whatever you take in, no matter how much you make. You take 10% and you save that, and then you then reinvest it into something,
Mm-hmm.
and then whatever you make back
Mm-hmm.
on that 10%, and then you reinvest it again, and you just keep doing that and
Doing that.
doing that. Eventually you make a snowball of wealth. But my suggestion is pick something for your first investment. Is something that you like, something that you know, something that you're willing to research and learn. If trading the markets is too complicated, find something else. Find real estate. Start a business on the side. Uh, there's always something that you can do that you have a little bit of knowledge in that
Mm-hmm.
can help you.
I like that. I like that. That's a nice, simple way of starting. It doesn't allow your heart to race, your head to go all over the place. Starting something simple. So if it could be sweeties, you have a friend who is probably doing sweets, candies, and you feel, yeah, you want to invest in something, or probably buy shares in a particular company that you see is doing well, whether it's McDonald's or KFC or Burger King or Pizza Hut. One of those that you see are, doing well. You can say, okay,
Yeah.
I can trust doing that. Or there might be a financial institution that things are doing pretty well. You can say, okay, I will invest in that until you're able to understand that particular market. Is it best to start off that way, and then as you understand how that particular market works and feel more comfortable, then you can decide, I'm going to add another egg in that basket?
I think that's a great way to start. And you use the example of McDonald's. If you go to McDonald's all the time and you're giving them money, you know that the business is good, right?
For
So then you just do a
sure,
little
for sure,
research.
Casey.
I would do a little additional research. You can go online, read some reports about it, what some of the other experts are saying. It doesn't take a lot of time, and then get a good feel for that. And then, like you said, if it's working, you just keep rolling it into that same thing. You take whatever you made, roll it back into, or you could try adding another area of investment. But one thing, some stocks like at McDonald's is a good example. They give you a dividend, and so that means every quarter they'll pay you a little extra just for holding that share, and you can roll that right back into it, and that your shares will grow.
Nice, nice. I like how you said if you're giving a particular business money, that means to say it must be making money, and you support it. So why not start off? I love that. So why not start off with the companies that you support, that you believe in, that you go to on a regular basis? I mean, lots of families may go out for pizza, order pizza, whether it's Domino's or whatever, every week, every Friday. Why not get back? So you're giving them money, why not get back? That is really, really cool. That is really, really cool. And you may enjoy actually studying the company that you're giving your money to, where that money is going, what are they investing in, what are some other things. I think that's really cool, Casey. You're making this pretty simple. I like that.
Well, I'm really a very simple guy. I'm not real bright. So for a guy like me to do well means that anybody can.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So, take us back into when you started. Share your personal story with us. How you got into this? Where were you before? And how did you snowball into making more and more money, and over what period of time? Share your personal story with us.
Oh, sure. So I was in construction. I got out of the army and then I got into construction. And in 2008, in the United States, there was a lot less work. And so I didn't really have any, I ended up losing my job
Wow.
based off of no work available, no construction. They were building stuff and then they stopped.
Hmm.
So I ended up just starting my own website because I was looking for jobs, couldn't really find anything, couldn't find work. And so I started my own website, and that actually worked out pretty good. The website was about how to trade currencies. And so I was able to write about some trading education and things like that. And then people started coming to the site.
Hmm.
And then I was actually making some revenue from that website.
Hmm.
And by the end of my first year of having a website, I didn't really even need to look at having another job after that because I was making enough money from my website to be my full-time job.
Nice. So, how did you? I mean, you were in construction, and then you started a website. What was the transition into understanding foreign exchange trading and learning about that? Where did that fit in?
Well, I've had a long history, so I did. It's kind of like what I mentioned on the front end is do what you like and do what
Yeah.
you know. So I did have a long history of the stock market and of the currency markets just because I learned it when I was young. My dad was interested in it and he
Yeah.
was doing some trading. So I learned that. And also, I have a love for technology and internet and websites
Mhm.
because when I was young, I built my first website when I was a kid.
Oh, nice.
So it was stuff that I like to do. I grew up, my aunt worked at a computer company and she taught me how to build computers, like
Oh,
taking computer
nice.
parts and building them. And I was doing that as a young kid.
Nice.
So I just used some of the stuff that I like to do. Those
Mm.
are stuff that I thought was cool. I thought computers were cool and I thought the stock market was cool. So I just did
You
stuff that
just
I
put the
knew.
two things together.
Yeah, and I had to do a lot of research on top of that, but
Mhm.
I had a starting point.
Yeah, yeah. When you talk about building websites back in the day, I can imagine and I remember what it was like to do websites back then. Oh my God, it was just so like difficult. Now it's just like click, drag, copy, paste. You can have a website up in about an hour. I mean, the site is already done for you compared to how it
Yeah,
was before. Things are so much easier now. So
that's true.
yeah, yeah. I like that. Starting with what you like, what you know, and just pulling it together. That as I tell you, a lot of things that people want to do takes you don't want to overwhelm them. Yeah, I mean, just the thought of doing it, and it's already overwhelming not having a job. You have your bills to pay, your family. You have responsibilities, and you're like looking left, right, and center. Nothing is happening, and then you decide, look, I'm going to do this. And I'm happy to hear that after a year. I mean, what happened within that year that caused you to be doing so well that you didn't have to be looking for a job again? That's just a great feeling. A lot of people don't have that. And for years and years, they're doing things and it's just not working out. What's happening?
Yeah. So I had a lot of good favor happen to me, like just good stuff just happened to me. And I put it in the category of trusting God. I put God first and believe that he's going to take care of me. And he really did. So that's my takeaway. But I really was just building the website and then people just started coming to the site and I didn't really expect that. So I started to make some money from advertisements.
Mm.
The reason people started coming to the sites is a bigger site ended up picking up some of my articles
Yeah,
and they were just coming from that big site.
yeah.
So then I put ads up on the page and I was making money from ads. And then another trader came and he approached me and he said, "Hey, you're getting a lot of traffic." He says, I can host a trading class. Why don't we just use your website to sell the class?" So a professional trader ended up building a class on my website and then I started to sell that and we became partners. And so then I was selling courses, educational courses. And so between the ads and the educational courses, that's where the money really came from.
Wow, that's God. That's God at work. That's God at work. That's God at work. Not that for those who it's not happening for, it's not God at work. But
Right. I mean, but I just look at the favor as thinking that that was God taking care of me,
yeah,
and it that's just how I look at it. So
yeah. No, no,
yeah,
I totally agree. I think it's awesome. That's deep, deep right there, Casey. I mean, and the belief and faith, and a lot of us we need that. Um, sometimes we're doing things on our own, the DIY approach, and we're
yeah,
fighting, and sometimes it's just to let it go and allow God to do what He needs to do in our lives. That's awesome. That's awesome. So your wife is working together with you on this, or is it just you leading the charge?
well, I actually had hired my wife twice, and I fired her twice,
Oh,
and she never lets me forget the fact that I fired her. Yeah, and she's
I
still
don't. I
trying to get back in. She's still trying to get back. She tells me she wants to come in and be an office manager
don't
because I
try to
have
get
some
back.
people work here. I have people work here, and she's like, I could just come in and boss everybody around. I'm like, no, no, you're good. I tell her she's too busy. She's got 9 kids. She's busy enough.
Yeah, yeah. I need to get your wife on this show. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she could tell you about how she got fired.
That would be a lovely story. You hired
Yeah.
her twice and you fired her, and she's trying to get back in. I'm like, what? She- I love that. I am definitely going to have your wife on this show. She needs to balance this story out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is awesome. And I need her to bring the 9 kids in too, because they will have their own stories to tell. Oh my goodness, Casey, this is awesome. So for persons who are risk averse, there are people who want it big, one time, to get rich quick. What is the sort of average time span? I mean, you were able to make a certain amount within the year that you felt comfortable that you didn't need a job anymore. That is super awesome, and everybody would love that. But as like I said, it doesn't happen for everyone.
Hmm.
There are persons who want it to happen tomorrow, tonight, next week, next month. I mean, a year is good. It all depends on the type of pressure and support. I guess your wife, I don't know if she was working at the time, or you may have had some other support while you're doing what you're doing to build over a year. Because when you have bills and you have expenses, etc., it really does put a pressure on you. What is the sort of average timeline you would tell somebody to give themselves, um, to feel that yes, I'm at a particular point now, I can take the next step or go to the next level, or fire my boss, just like how you fired your wife, fire your boss, and leave the job. What sort of time span is reasonable if somebody is dedicated, consistent, have found that niche that they can work with in terms of investment?
I think it's really difficult to give a specific timeline because I think for some people it could happen really quick, and for some it might take longer. What I recommend though is that you do set a timeline out and just look at a couple things. Like number one is how much revenue do you have to have? And then so if you look at your expenses, because everybody's expenses are different. Like I have a wife and 9 children. So that means there's 11 people in my house. So that means my expenses are a lot
Big
different than
difference.
someone who just has, themselves or has 2 people.
Yeah,
So for me, it's a lot different.
yeah.
And so you have to come up with that number. And whatever the number is, let's just say that it's $2,000 a month. You need $2,000 a month of revenue.
Mhm.
Then you write that down, and then you come up with what kind of plan, no matter what revenue source you're looking at, you need a plan on how you're going to accomplish that, and then try to write your plan down and then execute it and incrementally increase your cash flow until you get to the number that you want. And even though I'm still I'm doing really well now, I've got actually 4 or 5 businesses, lots of people working for me, I still do that. I come up with, say, okay, here's my next revenue goal, here's my plan that I want to do to accomplish it,
Mhm.
and here are the steps that I'm going to do to reach it, and here's the timeline. So I would say have your steps, your goals, your action items, and then your timeline of how long you would expect that to take. And then you just reevaluate. You just
Mhm.
keep at it. It's, remember at the beginning you said the work and perseverance. The
Mhm.
perseverance is really important because you got to say, okay, here I am. I've been doing this for 3 months. Am I where I'm supposed to be? Do I
Mhm.
need to readjust? Do I
Mhm.
need to make some changes? But just keep on pushing forward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You may not be where you want to be, but you kind of set targets, sort of reasonable targets that allow you. You could say every 90 days, I should be at this point, I should be at this point, I should be at this point, and even if you fall short, you just keep going.
And
Yeah,
even if I fall short, I'm still okay because the thing that makes me the happiest is that I'm moving forward,
yeah.
right? Even if I'm only taking baby steps, I'm I'm still taking those steps. So forward movement is really important. And if you're not making forward movement, that's when you need to say, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
And just another little tip on hitting your goals is really manage your expenses.
Hmm.
If you're wasting money, then that's a problem. So you want to use what you have first, because
Hmm.
everybody has something that they can work with. It might not be a lot, but
Yeah,
there's something. There's giftings. There's some type of resource that they can draw upon.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have to dig deep. I want to switch over to your website here. Let me see if I can share screens and hop across here. So, oh, and there is an opt-in here. So you could subscribe to the newsletter. This is how you stay ahead of the markets. Okay, so persons can put in their name and email address to get that information. All right. So your site, a lot is going on. This is like this is this is worse than the stock exchange.
There's a lot here. It's got news, it's got education, it got Bitcoin information, it's got stock market, it's got currency information.
What?
It's got
How,
everything.
how the hell do you navigate this thing? Come tell me.
Well, I'm really glad I'm getting this perspective because I want to know what the average person is thinking when they
Yeah,
come to the
I'm like, what the hell do I do here? Where do I go? I didn't even notice that there was a menu here. I'm like, I didn't,
site.
no, I'm not noticing that there's a menu because I'm just seeing things flashing. I
So
see.
I would say this is really good feedback. So thank you for sharing. But I would say if you want to learn about something, you
Yeah.
can say, okay, like for example, financial education. You
Hmm.
could go to that, and then that's got all the education stuff on how to do things. Like you can learn about how to mine Bitcoin, which is something that's really interesting. You could learn about how to trade the currency market, which is the how to trade the 24/7 market.
Hmm.
That's that article. Um, how to manage your debts. It's got information about a stock market crash. So for somebody that wants to learn, there's a lot of good stuff here.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to that menu wherever. Cryptocurrency. That's a new thing now on Bitcoin, isn't it? Is it the same?
Well, cryptocurrency is many different currencies, where Bitcoin is the first crypto.
Okay.
Now there's like thousands of cryptocurrencies. So it talks about Bitcoin and other different types of
Right.
coins as well. Like there's Litecoin and Ethereum and
Yeah, I've heard
Ripple, all of those different coins now.
Okay, I want to come to your podcast because I think the podcast will be really educational. Is it free to listen to the podcast?
It is free, and like this last episode was another successful trader that I interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really like it. We don't just cover trading; we cover or financial markets, but it's really cash flow. Anything we talk about debt, we talk about starting businesses, we talk about how to save money buying groceries, anything at all related to helping you with your cash flow.
And
Um,
that's what we're supposed to be talking about today, how to increase your cash flow. So give us some tips as you mentioned that as to how to increase. You're talking about how to buy groceries, and that type of thing. I mean, most people mightn't be thinking that way.
Well, if you can save money and you're spending less money on I'm not a grocery expert, but one of the guys I had on the show was, but just think about it. If you can spend less money on your groceries, then that's more money that you can spend somewhere else. So it
True.
is helping your cash flow. And that's just one area. I would look at your cash flow as like a pie and
Mm-hmm.
just try to say, okay, where each little area goes, and now think about what can I do? What's the best thing I can do to increase
Mm-hmm.
some? I think if you're just working a job and you're not doing something extra to make extra money, I think that's a problem. I think everybody should be trying to do something else.
Extra. Yeah. Even if it's raising chickens, planting a garden, selling something.
You know what? Where I live in Pennsylvania, in the United States, I have some friends that sell eggs. And
Yeah.
that's not, so first of all, they raise the chickens, they sell the eggs. So they're saving money. They don't have to buy eggs from the store, right? So plus they control the eggs, they get better eggs, and they make extra money from selling them. So that's, in my opinion, that's a great strategy. It's not going to make you rich, but every little bit helps. Every
Yeah.
little thing you can add
And it's
helps.
low cost investment. I would think it's a low cost because you're looking for something with low cost people normally use, because eggs is used in so many things, for breakfast, for baking, for a number of different things. So it's a great way to do it, Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome. One of the things that people tend to look for when they're looking for a business, because we're talking about chickens and eggs and stuff and gardening, is that they feel embarrassed to go into certain things, because they say, oh, what my friends will think, what my family would think. They're looking for that particular business that has a particular status or um, an impression, per person, so that they would think, yes, he or she has gone into this particular business. He looks good, she looks good, it makes sense, but it might be making money for you. So what would you say to somebody who is being practical, or being, I don't know, I don't want to use the word practical, but not concerned with what anybody else is thinking, because they know to themselves they are making money honestly. And in time, probably over the next 5-10 years, they can probably build a house, go into real estate, put that money, just from the eggs.
Yeah. And you know what I would say is, if it works, then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But you just measure what you're doing and have it as a measuring stick. Don't worry about what people are thinking. And if it works, then keep going. And one other thing to remember is where you start in business is not where you're going to finish. So the stuff I'm doing now, I wasn't doing then. I've changed a lot. And so if you're starting out, you don't know how it's going to end. You just got to keep trying to improve and just keep moving forward, because
Yeah.
it's going to change, because you're going to grow, you're going to learn,
Hmm.
more opportunities are going to happen, but you've just got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I remember here a guy had a little shack up selling ice cream. Now the guy has like a franchise. He has he has businesses all over in terms of his ice cream. It's amazing. We knew him on that shack. You're
Yeah.
passing by on the road and he's selling his thing. Now the man has businesses all over in different locations. You just would have never thought. Hmm. Interesting. And it's, a lot of people may sit by, you have the persons who, they don't take action. They want to do a business, but they're looking for that one thing, Casey,
Yeah.
one thing that will bring the goal, the one thing, and they take no action, as opposed to the persons who will go out there and say, I'm going to try the chicken and the eggs. I'm going to try planting a garden. I'm going to try this. And they just go out there, because we were talking about risk averse and the persons who are not, who will take more risks. What do you say to those persons who go out there, they don't probably even have a plan, they don't know what they're doing, but they just say, look, I got to do something, I'm going to do this, see how it works, as opposed to the person who's waiting, analyzing, super analytical, and waiting for that one thing that is going to bring them something, and they just never take action.
Okay, so I'm the first group. I'm not the waiting group. I'm the guy that just does stuff, right? So
Me
so
too.
my first, this business took off, but this was like my third business. It was my fourth business, actually, my fourth business. And the other ones didn't work, but I just kept going, right? I kept trying something. So here's my suggestion. Just do it. Just
Like
do
Nike, right?
something. Just do something.
Just do something.
And this is me. Everybody's different, but one of my big sayings is, I'd rather get something off the ground. It's better done than getting it perfect, right? Don't worry about perfection. You just do it. If it's not good, well, you just improve it next time.
Yeah.
Like I'll launch a new website and you know what? It's not perfect, but I launch it and then I make it better. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to make low quality stuff, but
Mhm.
I know that that forward progress is critical. And in order to make forward progress, you've just got to get things done.
Yeah.
So come up with an idea, write out a plan, and then take one step in front of the other and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. What if people are stagnated? Like you don't know, you've started something, you're stagnated, you're like, what am I going to do to get this really bringing in the kind of income that you need every month, a consistent income every month, but you just can't figure. But you think it's a good business, you know that there's a need out there. Probably the market might not be the type that has the money to be able to pay you, although there are some that are paying. What do you do in a situation where you're like stagnated?
Well, here's what I like to do, and that is to find people in your area that can help you and that might have experience already, that have already had success. And so when I say find them, I'm not saying, well, just come up to them and say, hey, can you help me out? But I would say, go find out where they're at. If they're in your community, go talk to them, ask if you can help them, sit by them,
Hmm.
serve them, say, hey, is there anything I can do to help you? And you add value to their life, and then they're going to share things with you. You're going to see how they're having success, and that's going to fall upon you. I'm a big believer in serving people,
Yes.
and when you do that, then stuff comes back to you.
Yeah.
And so in business, that's how I operate. I'm trying to find people that are ahead of me, and I want to help them. And
Mhm.
then usually good things happen to me when that happens, and I learn tons that way.
But you mentioned something there. You find people that are ahead of you. If they're ahead of you, then why would they need your help? There are some people that may say, I don't need your help. I got everything going on. Is you
Well, then you don't
you
need to
need
talk
help.
to those people. If they've got everything going on, then you want to stay away from them. They might be ahead of you, but they're obviously missing something. Because if somebody comes to me and they're behind me and they want to help me, then I'm like, well, thank you. I'm honored, and I will try to get connected with those people,
Yeah.
because I know that those people that are trying to serve, that they're good people, and even if they're behind me, I want to be connected to those people, because maybe later on, if they have the right attitude, they might actually be ahead of me. Uh, some of those relationships that I've had have turned out to be really good over the long term. So
No,
business is all about relationships. You got to make friends with other business people.
that's right. That's right. And I think the point of what you're saying is never to look down at anybody. Somebody might be behind you. You might even be behind somebody, but at some point, that person is going to overcome you. And I've had that experience where I have started in the industry and there are people who came way behind me and now they're ahead of me. Whatever they're doing, they're ahead of me. And you're like, what? Since when did you pass me?
Yeah.
What did you do? What? When did that happen?
Me too. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, what the hell did you do? You were actually asking for my help at one point, and I was trying to help you, and all of a sudden it's like, Bush, what? You know? Um, so you don't look down on anybody. You don't look
Yeah.
down on anybody. We are all here with something. Each of us has something that we can give and share to each other. I mean, this topic today is supposed to be about finance and about forex and about cash flow, but I think the greatest cash flow is within each one of us because each one of us brings something to the table. Whether it is directly or indirectly, each one of us. And like I said to somebody the other day, it's an ecosystem. You cannot exist in this ecosystem of this world by yourself. Everybody is interdependent, dependent, related in some way or form. You probably haven't realized it yet or want to see it or in denial or you're just damn selfish. you know but we need to understand that if we do reach out, if we are humble enough, we will all be able to get where we need to go. Just like how you got help and God opened up opportunities for you, I think because of your humility. Yeah, humility. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Humility is important.
yeah,
Yeah, it really is.
yeah,
Right.
humility. Casey, oh my goodness, we're having a fabulous discussion. I mean, it's way past the time, but I enjoy talking with you. And while this is, like I said, supposed to be about focus on money, 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 I think people need to see the bigger picture that money fits into, and it's your relationship with money, but you're more so your relationship with people to help you to get to where you need to go. Your website, I'm going to be checking out that podcast, listening to your podcast and learning a lot more, and the financial tab with the education. And I would encourage persons to check that out as well, even though it looks like the stock exchange website. The only thing I didn't see was that thing running across the screen, like the New York Stock
I
Exchange.
was going to add that, but
I
maybe I'm
figured,
not now.
I figured you would. I'm like, how come Casey don't have that? What do they call it again?
A ticker.
A ticker, right?
Yeah.
How come Casey don't have that ticker going across there? That's the only thing you're missing. And I'm definitely having a wife on the show. Believe it or not, I'm definitely.
I'll tell her.
I was just about to tell you. Please send her.
She's really funny too, so you'd have a great time with her.
I would. I really want to hear the story of the hiring and the firing and the trying to come back in. Yeah. Thank you so much, Casey, for being on Between the Lines. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for sharing. And I look forward to connecting with you and building a relationship with you in the future.
All right. Excellent. And thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.